If you're not making a living wage yet with Shopify dropshipping or e-commerce, but you want to be, listen up. Today, I'm gonna give you my top lessons for beginners and how you can avoid failure like 99% of beginners out there. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kevin, and I've been successfully dropshipping for over 1.5 years. If I have one big claim to fame, it's that I cleared over $20 million in sales in my first year as an e-commerce entrepreneur. Affiliate World proclaimed me as the e-commerce rookie of the year, and I became the youngest member of the Forbes Business Council. Through meeting tons of successful people, both in and out of e-commerce, along with coaching thousands of students, I've seen some major differences between those who win and those who lose. And often I can predict who's gonna be successful in this space. But today, we're not just talking about the differences in mentality between winners and losers. We're also gonna be talking about the most common mistakes that beginners make in e-commerce and practical, actionable solutions to those problems. So if you're a beginner, watch the whole video and keep an open mind. I can guarantee that you're making some of these mistakes, and hey, if you don't even have the patience or the dedication to sit around for 10 minutes through this whole video, you probably shouldn't be here in the first place. So let's get started. The number one mistake that unsuccessful dropshippers make is having the wrong mentality. I know that's not the tangible answer you're looking for, and I'll give you more practical tips in a bit, but mentality is the number one reason on my list. I've seen it time and time again with my students, and I promise you that nothing else will matter if you don't fix your mindset first. Trust me. Stop worrying about finding a winning product, having the right Shopify apps, using the best theme, or knowing the greatest ad strategy of all time, because even with all of this knowledge, you're still gonna probably fail if you don't change your mindset first. Just think about yourself for a second. If you've never even started a store, or maybe you've tried and failed in e-commerce before, but you never got back up and tried again, listen carefully to what I'm about to say and tell me if I'm right. You fear failure more than you desire success. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure you want to succeed. I'm sure you want to be rich and want to live a free life and have passive income. I mean, who doesn't? The problem is that you're also afraid to fail. You're afraid that you might waste time. You're afraid that you might not have the right resources. You're afraid that you're joining the wave way too late. This is a common problem that I see with people just starting out. They make excuses after excuse as to why they're not taking action yet, when in reality, they just fear failure more than they desire success. The truth is, you'll never be 100% ready. I wasn't 100% ready when I started. No matter what you do to prepare, there's never a guaranteed route to success. That's what makes entrepreneurship so lucrative in the first place. It weeds out anyone who can't overcome their fear of failure and leaves all of the reward for those who can. Take a look at this chart. This is what 99% of people in the world are doing right now. They all have jobs, but even if you do have a job, there's always going to be a very small amount of risk involved. You could always get fired or from your business, or maybe the company you're working for just tanks. But it's the bare minimum risk that society forces you to take. With that, you're getting a little bit of a reward, just barely more than the small amount of risk you're taking. But if you could conquer your fears and take on just a little bit more risk, voluntary risk that you decide to take on, you're looking at a very different picture. This is what you need to realize. While society and the people around you tell you to take a little bit of risk, if you just take that tiny amount of voluntary risk on your own, it unlocks a massive reward that is way bigger than any additional risk that you can take. This is why entrepreneurs make so much money. It isn't because we're smarter or harder working than anyone else. It's because we understand that if we voluntarily take a little bit of risk that no one else is willing to take, then we can get a massive reward that's much greater than the risk we originally took. To help you get over your fear of failure and take those first real steps towards success, let me tell you a few things. Number one, dropshipping is not dead. In fact, my stores are doing better than ever because people are staying indoors and buying online more than ever, and my private students are seeing massive results. Just last year alone, the dropshipping business model generated $85 billion. You're not too late, so don't let that be an excuse. Number 2, there's not a single strategy out there that can guarantee success. So stop trying to find the one method or the one mentor that guarantees you that. It doesn't exist. You're just wasting your time instead of taking action. You'll learn a lot faster by sticking to one source at a time and just trying to figure things out for yourself. Don't get stuck listening to 2 different gurus at once telling you 2 different things, getting you confused. Number 3, it only takes one store to make everything worth it. You could fail 1, 2, 3 times before you make your first successful store, and it really sucks. But you can easily make all of that back and much more with your first success. That's the premium you get for taking risk. So take failure with grace. Learn from it. Move from it quickly, and failure is just one step closer to success. Now that you know what kind of mentality you need, let's talk about something more practical. But before we do, please don't forget to drop a like and hit the subscribe button with notifications on so that you don't miss my future content. One video you'll absolutely love is a product research video that shows you the hottest trends right now in the current global situation. And if you're serious about taking action, you'll want to be one of the first ones to see that video. Anyways, the second biggest mistake that beginners make is not fixing something that is obviously broken. And this applies in so many different areas. Let's talk about the 2 biggest ones that I see. Number 1, your advertisements aren't working. If your ads aren't working, there's always a reason. It could be that your targeting is bad. It could be that your ads just suck and creatively no one really wants to click it. It could be a whole ton of different things, but sitting around and hoping it gets better tomorrow without doing anything to fix it today is just dumb. The algorithm isn't just gonna magically start printing you money. That's not how Facebook ads works. Even if you know the best ad strategy in the world, nothing is gonna fix a bad creative or a site that just simply doesn't convert. So stop wasting money on ads if they're not working. Try to find where the problem is, fix it, and then test again. Otherwise, you're actually just wasting money. Just to get a little bit more specific, the most common problem with your advertisement is going to be with your creative, which is the photo or video or the carousel base that you use in your advertisement. To determine if your issue is with the creative, check your outbound click-through rate. This is the rate at which you get people who see your ads to click on your link. Ideally, this number should be above 1.5% for your audience, and the higher it is, obviously the better. Now, there are some exceptions here based on the type of product you're selling, but in general, 1.5% is the general baseline that I've seen. If it's under 1.5%, keep testing new creatives until you make one that actually works. In my opinion, the quality of your creative will have the biggest impact on your ads performance. So if your creative isn't working, you have to fix it right away. And this is one of the biggest flaws of beginners. This also applies for audiences. If you keep spending money on audiences that haven't worked well before, what else can you expect besides more poor performance? Again, if it's not working, fix it. Change your targeting to something completely different before you try again. Okay, the next big thing is your site isn't converting. If your site isn't converting again, you need to fix this instead of waiting around. Improving the targeting on your ads is only gonna help a little bit, but you need to take a hard look at your website too. For example, if you're converting under 1% of website visitors into buyers, it's time to seriously do some changes on your website, your sales strategy, or your offer. I have a few recommendations for things you can change that will have the biggest impact on your conversion rate. The first problem is to look at price. Price has a huge impact on how willing a visitor is to buy. So play around with it. If you really aren't converting many sales, try lowering the price. Sometimes you can even try increasing the price and see if conversion rate increases. I can almost guarantee your conversion rate will jump if you do some sort of price testing. The second problem is your images. Do you really think that those stock AliExpress images are good enough? People buy with their eyes. It doesn't matter how good the writing is on your website. If the images are ugly or low quality, no one is going to want to buy. So just compare the differences in these images of the same product. Which one would you want to buy? So take the time to find the best available images for your product, and if it's not there, learn a little bit of Photoshop to get it done. The third problem is that your site doesn't answer your customers' questions. These are so-called pain points or reasons that a customer thinks about in their head before purchasing. If you don't do any market research, you're not going to understand what your customer is looking for, and your writing is not going to be able to persuade them. If this is a retail business, your copy is like the retail associate trying to sell the product. So before you decide to just write whatever description you want or to rip it off from someone else or just paraphrase the AliExpress description, take some time to research your customers and your niche. One of my favorite methods is to go on Amazon and look for products that I'm trying to sell, because Amazon's algorithm pushes high converting listings to the top. I look at those top listings and see what customers are asking in the Q&A section. I also look at reviews to see what the common problems are and why people are buying in the first place. Then, when I write my copy, I make sure to address all of their problems and cover how exactly my product will help them. Remember, if something's not working, do something about it. That's the biggest takeaway here. Nothing is going to change if you don't change something first, and all the answers is hidden somewhere in the data that you have access to. My third and final tip is to stop copying what other dropshippers are doing. Copy what real, big brands are doing. If you copy what other dropshippers are doing, you might be able to make a little bit of money here and there, but honestly, your chances aren't that great. You're competing against people who are running the same ads and selling the same product at the same price. Product and price are the worst things to compete on. That's why even the best dropshippers can't build anything sustainable. They don't have a competitive edge. It's just a constant cycle of finding a hot product, building a copycat, selling as much as they can before it's saturated, and then starting all over again. No real value is being built, and chances are you're gonna have some serious problems with Facebook or payment processors. Instead, what you can do is exactly what I do. Adopt big brands. Use the branded niche dropshipping approach. My branded niche stores are very different from the typical one product stores or general stores that dropshippers make and these YouTubers are teaching. It involves picking a niche or interest and creating a store around it with several products for that group of people. It's not really that much more work to set up, but there are many distinct advantages. The first advantage, it's much more trustworthy than a one product or general store. Think about it. Besides dropshipping, can you think of any companies or brands that either sell just one product or a bunch of unrelated random products like a general store? Besides juggernauts like Amazon, Walmart, and Costco, I can't really think of a single one. So stop copying dropshippers because it only makes your business look more sketchy and less trustworthy. Instead, copy what every big brand is doing, like Nike, which is an athletic wear niche, like Apple, which is an electronics niche, or Polo Ralph Lauren, which is a preppy apparel niche. Start a store around multiple products, around one theme, not just one product or a bunch of random products. Now, the second advantage. Niche stores give you a much higher average order value. People are naturally going to spend more money in your store because there will be several items that potentially interest them. For example, if you like fishing and you go onto a branded niche fishing store, don't you think you're gonna be interested in a lot of other items? Obviously you will. Now what if that store only sold one item like most dropshippers do? Well, you might like that item, but you're not gonna spend more than you need because there's simply nothing else to spend on. Or what if you went to a general store like these dropshippers make? You probably won't spend that much money either because you're looking for fishing gear. And on the general store, you're seeing all these random items like home goods and also car accessories. Plus, you can't really trust a general store just like you wouldn't trust Walmart to sell anything high quality specifically in fishing because it's obviously not their main focus. This is a major advantage that branded niche stores have. They have more credibility for their specific audience, plus they have a wider selection than one product stores. Ultimately, this leads to people buying more stuff and buying at a higher frequency. So stop trying to copy other dropshippers who recommend you to do a single product store or a general store, and instead take inspiration for what the biggest e-commerce brands are already doing and make your site feel like one of those legitimate niche e-commerce brands. Not only will this give you a higher chance of success to begin with, but will let your success be longer lasting and more sustainable since other dropshippers can't just steal your products. They would at least least have to go through the effort of trying to make their own store that resonates with your own audience. And that's a lot harder to do than just stealing an advertisement and a product. It's all about brand execution. That's exactly how I build stores like this, which has made money consistently for almost 2 years and counting, while other dropshippers can only make stores that last for a few months at a time. In the end, it's a lot more reward and a lot less effort than setting up a store and crashing it over and over again. That's true passive income. This is the method that I teach in my program, and it's the exact same method that has gotten so many of my students awesome results. Anyways, I hope you guys got a lot of value from this video. Please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you did. There will be a lot more fire content coming soon, and I'll see you in the next one.